going on, guys? Alright, so today we are going to be looking at 3-point perspective. So we've had a look at 1-point and 2-point perspective so far. So now today we're going to be looking at the good old 3-point perspective. Alright, so we'll start off in a similar way to what we done on our 1 and 2-point perspective, but in the same way. We're going to start off with a horizon line. So we're going to make these guidelines, we'll make them red. Red is fine. We're going to put a horizon line in the center. So just give us a nice line. Let's change our brush. 100% hardness, size 15. Yeah, that's right. That would be nice and visible for you guys. Right, so roughly around the center, I'm going to put my horizon line in, set 58%. Don't need that secondary. Let's put that up to 100%. There we go. Alright, so we've got a horizon line nicely centered. Now remember, previously we created a we adjusted our polygon so that it gives us that kind of star. So if you look back onto the 1-point perspective tutorial, you'll see how we created that, how we adjusted the features of our polygon tool to create the star shape that we use as our guide. Alright, so we've got green set for the color of that. Let's change that to red also. No, actually, yeah, what we'll do, we'll put our first 2 points in red and then our final point in green. So with 3-point perspective, what 3 stands for is 3 vanishing points. Okay, so in 1-point perspective we had 1 vanishing point, 2 point, we had 2, and now we have 3. So on our line, horizon line, let's just bring in a guide so we get a little closer. We're going to have our first vanishing point. So remember, keep your vanishing points off the page to reduce that crazy level of distortion. Number 1. Good, let's click off of that. Let's create our second vanishing point. Should create a new layer automatically, but this is just saving us from getting it put onto the same layer. Second vanishing point. Cool. So now we have our 2-point perspective grid. Now we are going to add in our third vanishing point. So the key is making sure that our third vanishing point is nowhere near our page, right? Because if your third vanishing point is too close to the actual page itself, or the drawing area, then it's going to be extremely distorted and look really unrealistic. So around here, holding down the shift key, let's zoom in. Right, so now we have our 3-point perspective grid. Okay, so let's see how this works in practice. So we're going to create a new layer so we can see our 3 points. As usual, when we are showing how the distortion or how the perspective point works, then we use a cube. So now we've got our horizon line in the center. So we're going to go ahead and draw our first line. So let's start off with the center of our cube. Right, and then from that, I'm not some expert at drawing lines. That I held down the shift key, I'll be honest with you guys. So everything on the left side of this line is going to be going towards that left vanishing point. So let's get that roughly going towards there. Anything underneath it is going to be going up and towards, so the same as with our 2-point perspective. But this time, rather than having our vertical lines going straight down, they're going to be going towards that top vanishing point. Alright, so if we were to take this top line, then we're going to be going along the same lines as our guide that we have. So it's going like that. It's a bit wonky, excuse that line, it went a bit crazy. So let me make this brush smaller, there we go. And the same on this side, so that's going towards that vanishing point there. This one's going towards that vanishing point on the right, and then these ones are going towards that top vanishing point. Yeah, so we've got that nice distortion happening, going up and towards, That is really cool. Now, a really interesting thing with the 3-point perspective is that we can see the third face of our cubes, or whatever it is that we're drawing. So now we're going to draw something below the vanishing point. Okay, so I mean below the horizon line. So we've got our first line, which is going to be going, let's get that going straight down. Again, holding the shift key. This one is going, on this side is going to be going up and towards that vanishing point there. This line is going to be going down and, or coming up and towards the vanishing point up here. So let's get this one going there. It's going to follow that distortion there. This line on this side is going up and towards that vanishing point, and let's follow that distortion. This one is going up and towards that vanishing point. Now look, we've got that top face of the cube, so we're going to continue following our perspective grid lines. So this top side of the face is going to be going up and towards that vanishing point, and this one is going to be going up and towards the vanishing point on the left. Right, so now we have a new face of our cube that we couldn't have achieved with our 2-point perspective. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 faces of our cube, so we can actually see the top. So this gives us a new point on our perspective, which allows us to see this top face. The same would happen if we were to go above our horizon line. So if we were to go above the horizon line, again starting off with our straight line, let's grab that shift key, and then this line is going down and towards that vanishing point. Our distortion line is going to be going towards that top, again going down and towards that vanishing point. On the right side, going down and towards that vanishing point on the right. Our vertical line is going down and towards, following the top vanishing point. This one is going down and towards that vanishing point. We've got the top face of our, the top sides of our cube. Now we've got the underside, so this one's going down and towards, again, that vanishing point right here. And this one is going down and towards that vanishing point there. Okay. Let's clean it up a little bit. So again, because of that third vanishing point, we're getting 1, 2, 3 faces of our cube. Okay, so that is 3-point perspective. We get that third face of our cube. Let's just move that Mr. Man over here. Yeah, and that allows us to see that underside. So this is really good if you're going to be doing like bird's eye perspectives, where you're looking down on a scene, or worm's eye perspectives where you're looking up at a scene, particularly if you're doing well, any type of concept art, but also if you're doing like comic book imagery. This is really ideal. It gives you that extra perspective, it can make your images far more dynamic and more interesting visually. So that is the amazing 3-point perspective.